Welcome to our newest project involving something that covers 3/4 of the planet Earth, the oceans. How many of us have spent time on one of the ocean's shores? Whether the favorite beach activity is sunbathing or riding a wave, when most people think of the oceans, the first thing that comes to mind: sharks. This fear is fueled by the news media and movies such as Jaws, but reports of shark attacks are exaggerated, and the oceans are inhabited by much more. There is tropical fish from warm climates, mammals such as dolphins, beautiful flowering plants, coral, which is actually a colony of tiny organisms that provide homes for many other life forms, the unusual such as the sleepy sea dragon, and the scary, which live in the deep dark depths of the ocean like this anglerfish. In this project you will learn about the oceans, such as how they affect the lives of all organisms on Earth. Investigate the need for conservation and protection, mainly focusing on damage and restoration of the ocean's ecosystems. Choose a marine life form and become an expert on this life form, and create a model of your life form, photograph it, and post it with your final project. All this will be accomplished through your readings, class discussion, and posts, as well as virtual field trips and dissections. Of course, any of your local aquatic centers will be a wealth of information. Just be sure to list these centers and or interviews as part of your bibliography with your final project. So let's begin with the focus of this project. Where are the oceans? How many are there? And what are their names? Today there are 5 recognized oceans covering 70% of the Earth. They contain 97% of the Earth's water supply. The Pacific Ocean is the largest of the oceans, stretching from the west coast of the Americas to the east coast of Asia. The Atlantic Ocean is between the Americas and Europe and Asia. The northernmost ocean is the Arctic Ocean, and it is above North America and Asia. The Indian Ocean is between Africa and India and extends to Southeast Asia. And our newest ocean, the Southern Ocean. It surrounds Antarctica and was named in 2000 by the International Hydrographic Organization and extends to 60 degrees latitude. I said earlier that the oceans affect our quality of life, but how? Through their movements. The deep currents are not directly felt by us, but they play a huge part in the aquatic ecosystems. They are created by differences in water density. Cold water has a higher salinity and sinks. Warm water rises and the salinity decreases. Temperature and ocean salinity determines where aquatic life forms live and thrive. The Great Ocean Conveyor Belt takes cold water from the polar regions to the tropics to warm, and then eventually returns it back to the starting point. This cycle accounts for 90% of the water, and one cycle can take 1,000 years. The effects of the surface currents are felt by us more as they dictate the climates where we live. Wind currents move warmer water to the poles, and cold currents bring the colder water to the equator to warm again. More than 1/2 of the sun rays are absorbed by the oceans. As the oceans are vast, it takes more energy for temperatures to change along the coastlines. Land, on the other hand, absorbs and releases heat quickly. Therefore, there is a more noticeable change in temperatures the further you move inland away from the coastlines. Other ocean movements are upwelling and downwelling and are caused by the Earth's rotation called the Coriolis effect. Upwelling on your left occurs as the winds from the north causes the surface water to move out. This void is filled by the lower water, bringing important nutrients up from the depth for plankton to feed on. Plankton is the beginning of the food chain. A disruption in the plankton population would be disastrous for all organisms that feed off them. Downwelling on the right is the opposite phenomenon. It is caused by air currents from the south, causing the deep water to recede, while the surface water replaces the outgoing. These two wellings, upwelling and downwelling, also determine where certain aquatic plants and animals call home. So as you can see, the oceans and their movements are important to both aquatic and land animals. As the oceans are so fast, 70% of the Earth, it is hard to imagine that man could have a damaging effect on them. But that is our next topic of discussion, what man has done.